Hello and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is episode 108, and I'm recording on September 7th, 2025. I just finished the movie. And that movie was All This in Heaven 2. This was available on Amazon. I think it's on several platforms, but none for free. This was a rental on Amazon, though I did have credits, so it was free to me. I had originally had this listed at 131 minutes, and I'm not sure if that was just a typo because IMDb and Wikipedia both say 141. So I had kind of been saving, the longer one. I usually watch the shorter ones first. I've been saving the longer ones. And then last night I looked at this one and I was like, what the heck? It's 10 minutes longer than I thought. So I decided to watch it today to kind of knock this one out because I had time. So All This in Heaven 2 is a 1940 American drama film released by Warner Brothers / First National Pictures, produced and directed by Anatoly Litvak with Hal B. Wallace as executive producer. Screenplay was adapted by Casey Robinson from the 1938 novel by Rachel Field. The music was by Max Steiner and the cinematography by Ernie Haller. Film stars Betty Davis and Charles Boyer with Jeffrey Lynn, Barbara O'Neill, Virginia Weidler, Ellen Wesley, Walter Hampton, Henry Daniel, Harry Davenport, George Coulouris, and Montague Love. Field's novel is based on the true story of her great-aunt Henriette de Luzy de Port, a French governess who fell in love with the Duc de Praline, her employer. When Praline's wife was murdered, de Luzy de Port was implicated. The scandal contributed to the political turmoil for the French Revolution of 1848 that deposed King Louis Philippe. It's edited by Warren Lowe, music by Max Steiner, production companies, a Warner Brothers, First National Picture, and Anatoly Litvak production, distributed by Warner Brothers, released on July 4th, 1940, with a runtime, as I said, of 141 minutes. I did not realize this was based on a true story. This was nominated for 3 Academy Awards: Outstanding Production, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Cinematography, Black and White. So Barbara O'Neill was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. She played the wife of the Duke. And I've seen Betty Davis now in several movies in this series, and I really like her a lot. She's very good. Charles Boyer was also in Love Affair from, I think, the last year's Oscars, which I really liked a lot. That was one of my favorites from the last round of Oscars, and he's also very good in this. One thing that's stands out, it's annoying in a way, but so a couple of the things sort of wrong with this movie. One, too long, 2 hours and 21 minutes, too long. And it's not for me to say where I think stuff should be. I guess it is if I say it's too long, where stuff should be cut out. I'm not really sure, having only seen it once, but I feel like some things could be shortened a little bit and knock that time down a little bit. Nothing extensive, but it could be 2 hours and 10 minutes maybe. Anyway, the other thing is, so Charles Boyer is French, and the whole movie takes place in France. And he, from what I can remember, he is the only person with an actual French accent in the entire movie. And it's fine. She's supposed to be British, and like his kids, I don't know if they're supposed to be, they grew up in France, so you feel like that they would have French accents. The wife, I don't know if she was supposed to be French or not, but she did not have an accent. And none of the servants, nobody had accents except him. So it's just a little, it bugs me a little bit, but not enough that I didn't like the movie, So I gave this 3.5 stars. This was very good. Aside from length, it really didn't, there really wasn't anything wrong with it, but very good performances by the adults and the kids. The one girl, Virginia Weidler, she's been in several movies all of a sudden. She was probably only about 13 in this. She started out in 1931, so she would have been only 4 at that time. And she retired at age 16. but she did like 40 movies in that time. So the first thing I saw her in was The Women, which was the snubbed movie I watched for the 1939 Oscars. Also starring Norma Shear, Joan Crawford, Rosalind Russell, Paula Goddard, Joan Fontaine. They had a big cast of women, famous women at that time. And she played one of their daughters, I think. Then she's in All This in Heaven too. She's in the Philadelphia Story. That may be all she shows up in as far as Oscar movies go, but she worked up until 1951 movie, and I guess 1943, and then she was in an episode of something called Hollywood Theater Time in 1951. So it may have just been footage of her, not sure. But she died fairly young too, like age 41, I think. Well, she had a heart condition, but she's very good in the three that I've seen her in. It's interesting that this is a, it's sort of a kind of a standard story, and you could kind of see where things were going for a lot of it, but I did not realize that it was actually based on a true story. So that's cool. Not cool, I guess, because it didn't end well for anybody. But yeah, this one was pretty good. I won't go too much further into it. I got one more, Grapes of Wrath, before I get to the final movie, which was Rebecca. And then a snubbed movie. And then we'll move on to 1941. I did not get to, I was hoping to also have watched The Grapes of Wrath this weekend, and I didn't get to it. So the rest of the movies are all, unfortunately, about 2 hours and 10 minutes. The Grapes of Wrath, Rebecca, and the snubbed movie are all about that length. So finding time for those will be a little more difficult, but I'm hoping that I can maybe fit at least one of them in this week. So I got to move on. I have a goal. I track movies on Letterboxd, and last year, I just tracked whatever I watched, and I watched about 184 movies. And so my goal this year was to try to get to 200. My main goal was to watch 100 of these old movies and 100 of other movies, whether they were movies I haven't seen yet or movies that I have seen. And so far, I'm definitely way more on the either rewatch or new movies side of things than I am on watching these old Oscar movies. So this year, it's September 7th, and I've watched 48 movies. So I'm not even halfway to the number that I wanted, and I don't know that I will get there, but we'll see. Now, that doesn't include the snub movies, but it's probably only like 3 or 4 snub movies that I've watched. So it might be a little bit over 50. So anyway, not quite, but I think I might get to 200. I just don't think I don't know that I'm going to get to 100 of these movies, and that's okay. One thing I did want to mention that I should be mentioning more is that I do post these in several places. They automatically get posted to the Son of a Podcast page on Facebook, I believe, but I don't ever go on Facebook because I don't like it. But I also do share these on Threads, and my name on Threads is just CW Westland. Nothing to do with Son of a Podcast specifically. It's just my personal account. And then on Instagram, when we started Son of a Podcast, I only had it on Twitter and Facebook. And then at some point, I started posting my old movie stubs on Twitter as well. And then when I really started doing it in earnest in 2019 and posting them each day of the year for, or on January 1st, I posted all the tickets that I had saved from January 1st. So I was still posting those on Twitter, but I also created Instagram account called Movie Stubs 4. I think Movie Stubs was already taken. And when I started posting these episodes of this podcast, so I never posted anything for Son of a Podcast on Instagram, but since I don't really care for Facebook, I'm no longer on Twitter, and Threads is kind of hit or miss. I started posting them on Instagram on my Movie Stubs 4. So it's not related to Son of a Podcast specifically. It is related to movies. I just didn't feel like starting a whole new account and trying to gain followers and stuff. And then I don't have a lot of followers anyway. But the link it won't let you post a link in like an Instagram post that been able to find. So I post them the day they come out on Mondays and Thursdays. I post them on Instagram just in a regular post. And then also in my story for that day with a link to the podcast. So you can check out Movie Stubs 4 on Instagram or CW Westland on Threads or Son of a Podcast on Facebook and find the links that way. You can also just go to Apple and subscribe there. But that said, leave a comment. If you see a post about the story or about the episode and you actually listened, leave a comment. I'd be curious to know if anybody outside of my friends might listen, or even them. They probably don't. That's okay. I enjoy doing this. Even if nobody's listening, I like to just kind of record my thoughts about these things. So I'm going to end it now because this is going on too long and I'm going to need to edit things down. So I've succumbed to my own pet peeve. So I'll leave it there. See you next time.